Hi, everyone. My name is David Monk. I'm a lecturer at Gulu University, which is a university in northern Uganda in Acholi land. I'm also the co-coordinator of the UNESCO Knowledge for Change African Regional Center for Training in Community-Based Participatory Research. And it's in that role that I'm presenting today. We do a lot of work with institutions at an institutional level in developing community-based movement for social responsibility in higher education through community-based research and evaluation of different knowledge systems. So a big part of the work that we do is integrating arts in research, both as a tool of dissemination, which is already a little bit more frequently used, but also as a tool of inquiry. And we have a number of different in-depth courses that always focus on arts as a tool of engagement. And the reason for this is that arts have always been so essential to understanding the world, and they're overly neglected now. They move us out of this technical, rational, logical framework of thinking and more into a space of understanding the world from our from a number of different vantage points and in a deeper way. They have a way of unlocking they unlock our creativity, but they also they open our full bodies to understanding and learning and knowing. And uh, to me, for us, I think they're just essential for inquiry processes. So I have a couple of examples of arts-based research. I have a longer list on the next page, but I'll just give some examples here to share some stories. Um, we have on the top left of the screen here. This is at Gulu University. This is on our campus, in fact, and we host regular meetings. This is at our we have a program in herbal medicine, and so we host regular meetings at this site. This is also the classroom. Where we bring elders together to discuss issues, things that we're doing in our research at the university, and issues in the community as well. You can think of it as sort of a high-level forum with community members and elders and political leaders, where we have a discussion around the fire and engage. Um, Often it involves storytelling and dance and collective learning. In the bottom here, this is a forum from, so the first picture was from about a year ago. This one is now from, I think, about 4 years ago. And we were discussing here, doing some shared painting exercises. So we were discussing with some younger community members the importance of art and why art is important in our society. So even this very topic that I'm sharing today, and we had people come together. We have a brief discussion, and then we give them each a square of paper, and we ask them, "Can you draw a picture, paint a picture, a metaphor that explains why arts are important in our community?" And we invited people from different spaces, schools. It was especially the young people felt it was missing in schools. So we had school teachers, secondary schools, students, even a director of a nursery school, in fact, as well, was participating in that day. So they paint their pictures, and then we put them all together, and we stand around and we discuss the meaning of the pictures and think about what we can do. And that's where we're starting to think about the themes and analyzing them as well as we're looking at the pictures and discussing. It's a crucial element of arts-based inquiry, that reflection space. And on the top right here is a forum investigating. It was a full day facilitated forum where we did took a number of different approaches to discuss vocational education and training. So here, even we used games on that day as well as a form of research, and dance also. So just to continue with different types of possible arts-based forms of inquiry. Photo voice is a common one. You give people some cameras and you send them into the community and ask them to take pictures about phenomena that you want to investigate. And then you come back and you discuss why they chose these pictures. And you have to usually you have to go through a couple of cycles of pictures, and selecting the pictures is important. You don't want too many pictures, so they need to take 5 or 6 pictures and then really reflect deeply on what is the meaning of this picture. Um, Two examples, perhaps. One, maybe let me just use one example. We were doing some research about waste management and solutions to waste problems, entrepreneurial solutions to waste problems with young people in the community here. So we gave them, we were working with 8 young people from different districts, and we sent them to their neighborhoods with cameras, and they went through and they took some pictures. Um, and then they came back and we asked them to discuss and present as a full group. And then we said, okay, now go back again to the community with your pictures. Some of them had taken so many. Others, the pictures were not so good. So we asked them now, okay, can you go back again and just refine your choice of pictures and choose 6 pictures? And eventually they came back with 6 pictures, and then they explained the pictures, and they wrote a document explaining as well each of the pictures. Why was this important? So, and then we discussed it and we brought out the themes, and then we moved into another set of the research. What could have been done there is with with that presentation now of the photos, you could do a public exhibition. Um, in fact, what happened with us in the case of that research is we moved into sending them back into the community to look for entrepreneurial solutions together with the community, and then they did a transect walk. So the photo voice was mostly used internally, and then they did a transect walk to go and uh, walk through the community. With the transect walk, I might as well give this example as well. With the transect walk, you move together with the community in an area and point out answers, questions related to whatever the issue is that you're discussing with the community members. So it's walking through as a group, and they're guiding you. This is commonly used in anthropology, um, uh, in anthropological work. But you walk through the community, they guide you, and then at the end, um, you sit down and you map out what are the different points of interest. Why did they point to this tree? Why did they think that this pile of waste was a problem that could have been solved? Um, and you map out, you make a little map of the community that you walked through, the space that you walked through, and you make notes um, together. This is now the reflection aspect of it. Okay, as you're walking through, they're telling you, and you're making observation notes. But then you sit down and with a piece of paper or even on the ground, and you could potentially take a picture afterwards. You go through and you um, uh, purposefully, as a group, fill in a map. And this is now doing integrating a little bit community mapping, which could be done in and of itself on its own, or it could be integrated in this. You can see that many of these art forms, they don't need to be used in isolation. They can be built on each other and work together in different forms of research. So with the map now, you're doing a community map. You're sitting with the community as the end towards the end of your transect walk, and you sit with the community and you discuss and you build the map together. And then you sit down and you reflect and you answer these questions. And you're putting the themes now directly into that map, okay, together with the community. You're pulling out these themes, and then um, you analyze them. How can we use this? What does this mean? You have these questions and you're writing these down, okay? And it's the same thing with the photo voice. You're documenting the themes that you're collectively deciding on, um, and forming conclusions about them together, okay? Uh, so now we've covered photo voice, community mapping, transect walks. The same thing, poetry, storytelling. You ask people to go and do something, write a poem, or tell a story about a particular phenomena, about a scenario that's happening in the community, and then you bring the key stakeholders involved in that question together. And it's that space of that's when the inquiry really happens. Okay, there are stages, there are different stages to it. One is the process of um, of going out and documenting, of painting, of writing a poem, okay, of walking through the community together, okay, and that's documenting and it's very important. But then the next stage of the reflection on it is really the most important. And the reflection is where you're now doing the meta level of thinking together about the phenomena that you're discussing and working through solutions. So often, if there's people with different perspectives in the community, there usually are, you want to have them at that table for discussion because it's a form of engagement as well. So you're documenting how people are feeling about particular things, and you're trying to also mediate change in the process, right? So if there are laws that need to be changed, for example, or practices that need to be changed of particular community members, it's a little bit like an intervention. You invite people, you invite some lawmakers, you invite some different representatives together to discuss thoroughly um, the issue and come to know more about the issue to engage. And that's now uh, part of the goals of engaged research, right, is to solve the problem. So that's where you need to do the network mapping beforehand to understand how you're going to use this research. And that means who are you going to invite to participate in doing it? Who are the ones that need to change their attitudes or their minds, or who need to be engaged in this space in order to overcome the problem? Okay, so having an inclusive space is important, and that one needs to be decided on together with the community that you're working with. Okay, so now forum theater. Again, forum theater is, for me, it's one that I use together with painting the most, I think. Um, uh, in our research, this picture is an example of forum theater. We were investigating a question of um, how indigenous knowledge systems are important in combating and dealing with the effects of climate change. Um, so we were talking about one, the need to validate and understand more um, indigenous knowledge systems, different ones. In this case, Acholi knowledge systems. Um, the processes that are there and how different community organizations and elders and healers in the community are using their knowledge systems to regenerate. This is the language that they were using, translated, regenerate the land. And they say to heal the land, you heal the to heal the people, you need to heal the land. Was a very popular quote that emerged from this. It was called the Decode research project, and so we asked, after talking to a lot of people and using various approaches, including painting, to elicit responses and storytelling. Um, then we went to this group, Watuero Dance Company, a group of young people that are very talented, um, to put on a presentation about this. The reason we asked them is because of their focus on using one arts and specifically dance uh, as a tool of engagement, and they're very professional in this. But also, they're they're really interrogating into indigenous knowledge systems and culture and changing cultures as youth, trying to examine their identity. So they're really, really very they do very interesting and evocative um, performances. So we asked them to come and make a presentation based on discussions and based on their work and their interpretation of our work. We had put it into this program called Story Map. So we shared the story map with them, the videos, the pictures, the compilation of our research, and then we asked them to interpret. So another layer now is being added to the research. Their young people's interpretation of indigenous knowledge systems, of their culture, of their identity, in contrast with dominant paradigms of knowledge and research that we too often use, that are based largely in British models here in Uganda of of what it means to understand and interpret the world. So uh, they put on the performance, and we had a lovely discussion with the community, which really added to our already existing data set. And so it added depth again, and also it was a form of engagement that we were saying, now what can we do? How can we discuss? How can we act on these issues a little bit more. So that was a nice thing that we did a couple of weeks ago. We did this presentation, and now next week we're going into a school to do a presentation as well. A school that's interested in environmental sustainability. So we're going to go and work with them, and we have some other projects that we're working as well. The outcomes are even unpredictable sometimes. How far you can go in different places, and what is the next research that you do, and what are the questions? It can almost never be ending, but the process, the important thing is the process of doing the research is contributing towards some kind of a solution. There's some integrated, um, participatory research processes emerge out of adult education, right? And social movements trying to create social change. So there's that element of empowering and engaging communities through shared learning at the same time as, well, that's what you're doing. You're learning together, right? So, um, and that's what research is. We're interrogating our world, trying to understand it. Um, so now, here is a list of some common steps. I think I've given examples for them already, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Okay, but basically, you do some kind of an art form. Of course, you have decided on what it is and what the issue is that you're trying to trying to engage with, the phenomena in the community that needs to be um, uh, solved, or the innovation that you're trying to work towards. And then you develop a strategy for the research together. Who has to be involved in this? Is it going to be? Is it going to be focused on a dissemination level? Afterwards, who needs to be involved in the dissemination, and how is it going to be an active engagement? Um, those are the ones that need to be invited to it. If it's a theater production, who are you going to invite to the theater production to discuss the questions that are raised in the theater? Um, if it's photo voice, maybe there'll be an exhibition. Who's going to be invited to the exhibition at the end? Okay. Also, of course, when we're doing research, this is in all of research, we have to make sure that we have inclusive research teams. So a common thing is that we invite people, to decide on the question, especially with gender, for example. Um, if you're discussing anything in society and you're not including a woman in your research team, then you're going to have very different questions. And if women are not facilitators in the research, then you're going to have very different responses as well than if it's only men, and vice versa, the same thing. If it's only women, then you're going to be missing some questions, and you're going to be getting different responses from people. I've seen this. I have examples of this so many times. And then, of course, um, the disability activists um, in the 1970s, I think, said, very strongly, nothing about us without us, right? So you have to be engaged with people throughout the process, and it's a validation of people's knowledge. We're in engaged research. We're understanding that people know things, and just because they didn't finish secondary school doesn't mean that they don't know things. They're very, there's a they're experts in particular ways, and working together with them is important. So that participative element of it is a validation of people's lived experiences and knowledge in various forms. So it's a participative process. So that inclusiveness on the team directly from the outside, so that you know which questions need to be even asked. It's probably coming from the community and negotiated with them. Then you do the art form, and then you come back and you reflect on it. That's where you're now reflecting and documenting the reflections on developing themes and analyzing together and creating action points if they're not already there, if they're not already accomplished. And of course, we're having fun. So some key roles of facilitation. Uh, Facilitators are part of the team, right? You're guiding the research. So you need to, uh, as with all teaching, you need to be not trying to impose your ideas, recognizing that you have important contribution to make, but you're trying to guide and make sure that everybody else's contribution is being accepted. So in the art place, of course, you're giving the directions. Now you need to do this. Now we're going to do this, but you're making sure that everybody is included in this process. Um, of the art form. Of course, you have done some background research, and you know the community, you're experienced, you live in the community, so you have your experiences as well, and you have the theoretical background that you have read. Based on what's happening in other places. So these are things that you can contribute towards the conversation that is maybe different from what other people are contributing. But you're really trying to enhance everybody's participation and their discussion and their reflection on their art piece. So if you're doing painting, the painting, whatever it is they paint, doesn't matter if it's beautiful or ugly or if you think it's relevant. The important thing is how they describe it afterwards. What do they mean? Why did you paint a picture? And it's important that you insist without having words. If it's a poetry, then of course there's going to be words. But you're trying to develop metaphors and think in metaphors. So you're trying to engage people in this way and making sure that everybody has a chance um, to participate. And you're also wanting to make sure that there's very nice dialogue and discussions that are coming out. Um, so you're guiding the conversations as you're moving. Now, as you see, probably I don't know if you've recognized, but if we just go back slowly through, you'll see that everybody here. This is one of our workshops actually that we were doing a residency, and they were developing a project that they were doing together with the community and sharing a little bit about their research that they were doing. Um, but in all of these, you see how people are gathered, even around the tree. They're gathered, but here it was a performance, but still we were in a semicircle. You see how it's all people are gathered in circles everywhere. How you gather people, this is really important. So having people be in circles is generally an inclusive way of engagement, making sure that everybody is there and has an opportunity to participate. But it also makes an opportunity, even your bodies are facing each other, for listening, right? And that's actually the key role of the researcher and any teacher, is to listen and elicit and bring out, right? Help people to bring out their ideas. Um, so this list actually has come from a book chapter. This whole book has a number of articles about a number of stories about art-based research. So I really quite enjoy it. I like it a lot. Nandita Bhatt, I did a workshop with her in 2018 on arts-based inquiry, and she just blew my mind. Really, like, she's just amazing. And this book chapter describes one of her research projects, and it has a number of different, it describes the steps as well. So if you want to get a little bit deeper into this one, is community mapping and gathering community and engagement, then I really recommend this book chapter. I think you can Google it and you'll be able to find it. It's an open access book. And then again, some more examples that we have through our Knowledge for Change Global Consortium. This Bridging Knowledge Cultures is based on some research that we did in 2023. It finished, and it has a number of case studies about arts-based inquiry. So you can learn from the different stories that are there from around the world. So I think I stop there. I thank you very much for your time.